Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijanna Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Sata Sri Srimadi's Divine Grace Labhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Sata Sri Srimadi's Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप श्री मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशनल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। द मोस्ट मर्सिफुल लॉर्डशिप श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन जी की जय। द मोस्ट मर्सिफुल लॉर्डशिप श्री श्री गौनिथाय की जय। द मोस्ट मर्सिफुल लॉर्डशिप श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र महारानी की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निथाय गौर प्रेमनंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama-sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 19, entitled King Pruthus 100 Horse Sacrifices. Text number 12. Is it 12 written there? Tamatrir Bhagavan Aiksha Tam Atrir Bhagavan Aiksha Varamanam Vihayasa Varamanam Vihayasa Amuktam Iva Pakhandam Amuktam Iva Pakhandam Yodharme Dharma Vibhramaha Yodharme Dharma Vibhramaha Tamatrir Bhagavan Aiksha Tvaramanam Vihayasa आमुक्तम इव पाखंडम यो धर्मे धर्म विभ्रमः तमत्रिर्भगवान् ऐक्ष परमानं विहाय स आमुक्तम इव पाखंडम यो धर्मे धर्म विभ्रमः तमत्रिर्भगवान् ऐक्ष परमानं विहाय स आमुक्तम इव पाखंडम यो धर्मे धर्म विभ्रमः तमत्रिर्भगवान् ऐक्षत परमानं विहाय स आमुक्तम इव पाखंडम यो धर्मे धर्म विभ्रमः तमत्रिर्भगवान् ऐक्षत परमानं विहाय स आमुक्तम इव पाखंडम यो धर्मे धर्म विभ्रमः तमैक्षत तमत्रिर्भगवानैक्षत परमानं विहाय स आमुक्तमिव पाखंडम यो धर्मे धर्म विभ्रमः Any Matajis? Tamatrirbhagavan Aikshat Varamanam Vihayasa Amuktamiva Pakhandam Yodharme Dharma Vibhramaha Tam King Indra Atrihi the sage Atri Bhagavan most powerful Aikshat could see Paramanam moving very hastily Vihayasa in outer space Amuktam Amuktamiva like a liberated person Pakhandam imposter Ya one who Adharme in irreligion Dharma religion Vibhramaha mistaking. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When King Indra was taking away the horse, he dressed himself to appear as a liberated person. Actually, this dress was a form of cheating, for it falsely created an impression of religion. When Indra went into outer space in this way, the great sage Atri saw him and understood the whole situation. Please repeat. When King Indra was taking away the horse, he dressed himself to appear as a liberated person. Actually, this dress was a form of cheating, for it falsely created an impression of religion. When Indra went into outer space in this way, the great sage Atri saw him and understood the whole situation. Shri Shri Gaunithai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Pakandha used in this verse is sometimes pronounced Pashanda. Both of these words indicate an impostor who presents himself as a very religious person, but in actuality is sinful. Indra took up the saffron colored dress as a way of cheating others. This saffron dress has been misused by many impostors who present themselves as liberated persons or incarnations of God. In this way, people are cheated. As we have mentioned many times, the conditioned soul has a tendency to cheat. Therefore, this quality is also visible in a person like King Indra. It is understood that even King Indra is not liberated from the clutches of material contamination. Thus, the word amuktamiva, meaning as if he were liberated, are used. The saffron dress worn by a sannyasi announces to the world that he has renounced all worldly affairs and is simply engaged in the service of the Lord. Such a devotee is actually a sannyasi or liberated person. In Bhagavad Gita 6:1, it is said, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnirna chakriyaha. One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. In other words, one who offers the results of his activities to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually a sannyasi yogi, standard yogi, sannyasi and yogi. Cheating sannyasis and yogis have existed since the time of Prithu Maharaj's sacrifice. The cheating was very foolishly introduced by King Indra. In some ages, such cheating is very prominent, and in other ages, not so prominent. It is the duty of a sannyasi to be very cautious because, as stated by Lord Chaitanya, sannyasira alpachidra sarvaloke gaya. A little spot in a sannyasi's character will be magnified by the public. Therefore, unless one is very sincere and serious, he should not take up the order of sannyas. One should not use this order as a means to cheat the public. It is better not to take up sannyas in this age of Kali because provocations are very strong in this age. Only a very exalted person advanced in spiritual understanding should attempt to take up sannyas. One should not adopt this order as a means of livelihood or for some material purpose. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindhubhaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate gri yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. So, while Prithu Maharaj, he was carrying out the 100 sacrifice, the sacrificial horse was stolen by King Indra. How did he steal that horse? He stole the horse by coming in the form of a sannyasi, wearing saffron dress, because he was very anxious that Ritu Maharaj may become Indra. Who did not know that Ritu Maharaj is the Supreme Personality of God, its incarnation. When you are a judge, you don't aspire to become a police. So he doesn't understand Ritu Maharaj's exalted position. So he's thinking he's doing these 100 sacrifices because it is mentioned in the Vedas that if anyone who completes 100 sacrifices, they can gain the prosperity of King Indra, or they can gain qualification to become Indra. So that was his fear. In fact, Indra always lives in fear whenever someone is doing meditation or sacrifices, because he is thinking that everyone is there, his competitor. Once Naranarayan Rishi was doing tapasya, then King Indra, he was concerned. He thought Naranarayan Rishi to be ordinary sage like Vishwamitra or others, whom he has defeated by sending Menaka and then Ramba and Urvasi. So similarly, when Naranarayan Rishi was doing tapasya in Badrikashram, so he had sent heavenly beauties, all, all heavenly beauties. So all of them were dancing for music, their ankle bells and their bangles were tingling, and it produced a very beautiful sound, and the whole scene was so beautiful. Nevertheless, Naranarayan Rishi was least disturbed. So King Indra was watching. Why? He's not disturbed. Then suddenly he saw that from the body of Naranarayan Rishi, very beautiful damsels came out, who are much, much more beautiful than these damsels, heavenly damsels who are dancing. And in fact, these heavenly damsels, when they saw these beautiful ladies, they felt ashamed that they are not so beautiful as them. That much beautiful they were. Then King Indra understood that he is not ordinary person. He never saw from a Rishi very beautiful damsels coming. So he understood that he is not ordinary person, and then he went and surrendered to him. So this position of Indra, you can say Indra means a king. So any position which is held where you are attached to the position, it will give a lot of anxiety. Because all these positions are temporary and material positions, including the position of Indra. Indra is not an ordinary position, by the way. He is king of heaven. He controls the whole planetary systems. All these planets like Indra, Chandra, Buddha, all these planets are controlled by Indra. So we can't even imagine the position of Indra. But still, Indra is very, very anxious because he has occupied a material position, and he's not doing it as a service to God. He's attached to the position. First of all, the position is temporary. Secondly, one is attached to the position. And because of that, he has to be always in anxiety. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us that when you are like that, when you are attached to the position, and you are ready to do anything. Anything means to any cheating, which is very, very gross cheating here. He came like dressed like a sannyasi and took away the horse. He has no shame. He was not acting like a gentleman. So Prabhupada is talking about cheating mentality in all of us. And what is cheating mentality? Cheating mentality is showing off. That is what is cheating mentality, basically. Cheating mentality means you want to show off to others more than what you are actually are in. That is what a cheating mentality is. That is, in technical terms, that is called dambha. And Krishna enumerated this dambha as one of the demonic qualities. In fact, the first demonic quality is dambha. Dambho, darpa, abhimanasya, krodha, parushyam evacha. Dambha means show off. And all of us have this show of tendency at various degrees. The more show of tendency that we have, the more demonic nature that we have. The more we want to come out of this show of tendency, the more saintly we are becoming, the more divine we are becoming. And all of us have heard from Srila Prabhupada that there are 4 problems for a conditioned soul, or 4 imperfections the conditioned souls have. What are they? They have limited senses. Their senses are limited, imperfect senses. Number 2, they're always in illusion. Number 3, it's not necessarily in the order that is coming to my mind, I'm saying. Number 3, they commit mistakes. And number 4, they always cheat. In these 4 things, the most prominent thing is cheating tendency. And cheating tendency is exhibited through a form of a appearance. So Srila Prabhupada is taking an important, taking an important lesson for all of us. That in this world, whatever is respected, you wear the dress, but do not behave like that, is a very gross form of cheating tendency. And one such a dress is saffron dress. Saffron dress, for ages, it is most respected. Saffron color is actually sign of renunciation. It's a sign of sacrifice, sacrificing oneself for the welfare of others. Saffron color is also there in our tricolor. So, people who wear saffron dress, they are letting everyone know that I am at your service. I am the service of this whole humanity. That's what is the meaning of saffron dress. So it all started long, long time ago. Indra has used this dress. Ravana has used this dress. Many others use this dress for cheating others. So Prabhupada is saying that don't be hurry in accepting saffron dress, because you can't revert it. Nowadays we have some brahmacharis who one day wear saffron dress, another day they wear white dress, another day they wear yellow dress, and again whenever required they will wear saffron dress. Some brahmacharis are like that. Not everyone is like that, but some of them, few of them I would say. What? Yeah, like a fashion show. So like that, So Prabhupada is giving us a great warning, serious warning, that don't just do this kind of business. When we were children, lot of beggars would come in the street in the form of saffron, wearing saffron dress. You must have also seen. They used to bring two big pots tied to a rod, and then they would carry. And then if you want get rice, there is one pot is for rice, another is for money, like that. Uh, but generally, people are so pious that when they see saffron dress, they get some kind of inspiration to donate something. So that's why they give easily. Even Prabhupada's father, Prabhupada said, my father, whenever he sees someone who is in saffron dress, he would invite to our house, feed him nicely, and ask those saffron dressed persons, please bless my son that he may become a devotee of Radharani. That was his aspiration for his son. So this is the general tendency of Indians, pious Indians. And most of the people are pious in those days. Before Kali Yuga, people were almost pious. Kali Yuga is degrading so much that people are becoming atheistic. Otherwise, people are pious. Even in this degraded, atheistic Kali Yuga, still there is respect for saffron dress. So, using this dress for one's own maintenance is the worst thing that one can do. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. And unfortunately, it even started with a great personality like King Indra, because his position is at stake. Now he is using this saffron dress to steal the horse so that he could disturb the 100 sacrifice, so that there is no competitor for the Indra post. Same thing, whether you wear a saffron dress and ask Bhavati Bhikshandehi for satisfying your stomach, or King Indra coming and stealing the horse, both are same. As Prabhupada said, Kira chor, hira chor, chori chor. Right? Somebody has stolen a diamond, somebody has stolen one cucumber. Both are same, because the tendency of stealing is there. So in the same way, we see that it's not just Indra, but we have to see that all of us have this tendency. And what is the tendency? Dambha. Dambha. That has to be seriously dealt with. It has to be seriously dealt with. And it is also said that the dambha magnifies so much in front of opposite sex. This show of tendency. Isn't it? The whole world is this only. The boy dresses nicely to attract the girl dresses nicely to attract the boy does all kinds of heroic acts to attract the attention of the girl, and the girl dresses in various ways and shows off her body in various ways to attract the boy. That's all the movie is all about. It's damba. From beginning to end, it is damba, 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 damba. Show off, show off. So this is unacceptable for those who want to advance spiritually. So each one of us have to consider very deeply how much damba we have, where all our damba gets out from our consciousness. Somebody may exhibit damba in his speech. Somebody may exhibit damba in his appearance. And some of them are very subtle. They are not so gross. Very subtle damba is there. He makes such followers who will glorify him. This is indirect damba. He doesn't speak. Let others speak. These Bhagavans who sit on the thrones, they don't speak about themselves. Their followers speak about them. And they simply, nod their head like this. This is very subtle damba. And Prabhupada is talking about another damba. What is that? That someone who becomes a Brahmavadi or Mayavadi, who wants to merge into the existence of God, merge into the effulgence of God, he has highest material desire. So you can see from this, very low level of Damba to very high level of Damba manifested in various ways. And that's all an emblem of cheating tendency, which is exhibited even by great personalities, because here the word that is mentioned is amukta. Amukta means he is not mukta. He is not liberated person, but he's going like a liberated person. He's wearing saffron dress. So saffron dress, Prabhupada is saying, it indicates liberated endeavor, liberated position. So only those who are seriously renounced from the material obligations of this world should wear saffron dress, not any others. Lord Chaitanya did not encourage any less standard for saffron dress. He was very strict about sannyasis. So much strict that when then this devotee called Chota Haridas went for begging alms, and he went to one place where there was one Mataji, who was old Mataji, Madhavi Mataji. And he went and begged alms. She was alone there. Lord Chaitanya did not approve this act. He has banished Chota Haridas. Everyone was surprised that, there is no fault of Chota Haridas. Prabhupada sometimes says, two different ways he presents. Prabhupada sometimes said that this Chota Haridas looked at that Mataji in a lustful way. In another place, Prabhupada says he simply went there to beg alms. But Lord Chaitanya did not approve that act. Such a serious standard for sannyas. So he banished him and told him that he is not going to see him anymore. Chota Haridas was so disheartened that he could not please his spiritual master, his Aradhya Devam, that is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He felt so sorry, and he waited. Maybe Lord Chaitanya's heart would move or melt. It's not that Lord Chaitanya's heart is hard. But he felt that, maybe he will show mercy in a different form. And now the devotees started asking Lord Chaitanya, Chota Haridas, he stopped eating. My dear Lord, kindly shower your mercy upon him. Lord Chaitanya's answer was, that is the fit punishment for a person who has improperly acted with a saffron dress. So it went on for some time. Then finally Chota Haridas gave up, and he understood that I cannot please anymore the Lord in this way. So he gave up his life. He gave up his life. So we can see what kind of standard that Lord Chaitanya set. And Srila Prabhupada, you see what Srila Prabhupada is quoting from Chaitanya Charitamrita as saying that, how the Lord Chaitanya said, any small mark, black mark on character of a sannyasi is magnified by general people. I'll also tell you the tendency of general people. The people in general, they cannot see someone who is so very pure. Because they cannot be pure, they cannot tolerate if someone is pure. So they're always looking at that person who is pure to bring that person down, to pull that person down. So they're always looking for mistakes. When this, see how much respect this person is getting by wearing this saffron dress. Actually, he is an imposter. It'll all be known to the public one day. Just wait and see. This is the general tendency of people. People are in general, they are envious of purity. Ramachandra Khan was so envious of Haridas Thakur because Haridas Thakur was chanting 128 rounds, 172 rounds, 192 rounds, 192 rounds every day. And everyone was glorifying Haridas Thakur. Oh, just see, he's born in a Muhammadian family, but he's so dedicated to the holy name. Lord Chaitanya gave him Namacharya position. But Ramachandra Khan, he was very envious of Haridas Thakur and he sent a prostitute to put down his character. That is general tendency of people. They don't want to see purity in others. If too many people glorify a person, they cannot see. They always conspire to bring that person. So they are like professional, they act like professional fault finders. Magnify. Even a little bit is there. See, he has done this for this reason. Like that they will do. So that is why Lord Chaitanya said, if you have taken a sannyas position, you cannot give any opportunity for people to point finger at you. Don't take sannyas. Because it's a very, very vulnerable position in the material world, in the present situation. Because a lot of provocations are there for a sannyasi. In fact, 500 years ago, when Lord Chaitanya himself took sannyas, you see how Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. Lord Chaitanya, when he was a grahastha, he was running a school where some of his classmates, some of the students, they were learning Sanskrit from Lord Chaitanya. So when Lord Chaitanya was uttering the names of gopis, they became agitated and they started blaspheming Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why are you talking about names of gopis? They didn't understand the ecstasy of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya felt that, no, this is too much. These people, now they are finding faults with me, so they will not be able to learn anything from me. So that is why Lord Chaitanya decided that I must take sannyas. So he took sannyas. Because sannyasi is most respected, people will easily offer respects to sannyasi, hear from a sannyasi. And even in sannyas, in those days, this Bharati Sampradaya sannyas is considered very, very exalted. So he took sannyas in the Bharati Sampradaya. There is Saraswati Sampradaya, Bharati Sampradaya, different sampradayas are there in sannyas. So he took Bharati Sampradaya sannyas. The idea is that people will listen to him. So he took sannyas for a different reason. That people will listen to me because I have some very important message to be given to this world. What is that important message? That chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the only way that you can actually liberate yourself and go back home, back to Godhead. So that is why he wanted to take up the sannyas dress. But even though he took up sannyas dress, still there are many, many people who wanted to find faults with even Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is such a strict sannyasi that when he was sitting, women would not even come near him out of respect. Today, if a sannyasi comes and sits and women doesn't come near him, allowed to come near him, then there will be a ministry is there, female ministry. There will be a big complaint. See, he is making discrimination between man and woman and all of that. But actually, women do not come near to a sannyasi out of respect, out of the promise that he has taken that I will not associate by my mind, by my words, or by my thoughts with women. So that was the standard of sannyasi. So even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he took sannyas, there is one Sarvam Bhattacharya who was very anxious. When Lord Chaitanya came to Puri, he saw the beautiful form of Lord Jagannath and fell unconscious. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saw this ecstasy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He understood that he is not an imposter. He is actually a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Jagannath. So he took him to his house, and then he found out that, he is such an effulgent, bright sannyasi, and his age is 24. That's all. So at 24 years, how this boy can sustain sannyas? So I must teach him Vedanta. So he told his brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, please tell this boy, for him to be strong inside, he has to learn Vedanta. So tell him to come to me. I will teach him Vedanta in 7 days. Lord Chaitanya felt, oh, he has some fatherly affection for me. You see how Lord Chaitanya took it. He has fatherly affection for me. He wanted to make me strong inside. Because Lord Chaitanya knew that people who take sannyas at young age, they are subjected to so many provocations. And for them to sustain that sannyas, they have to be philosophically strong, devotionally strong. Only then they can maintain sannyas. So in this way, we see a sannyasi doing a small mistake. There was one Ramachandra Puri. You must have heard about Ramachandra Puri, Madhavendra Puri's disciple, Ramachandra Puri. So he saw one time from Lord Chaitanya's hut, some ants were coming. Then he saw those ants and said, you must be eating a lot of sweets, that is why ants are coming from your hut. This was pointed out by Ramachandra Puri. Lord Chaitanya did not protest. Actually, he even went inside and saw whether there are some sweets. There were no sweets there. So, and not only that, he has told many of the Lord Chaitanya's followers, he has the habit of inviting Lord Chaitanya's followers to his home, feed them nicely. After feeding them sufficiently, more than sufficiently, he would comment that, what kind of devotee you are eating so much. He only forced them to eat. But after eating, he would say, what kind of a person you are. And then he would say, your leader is no less. Who's their leader? Lord Chaitanya. Your leader is no less. I found ants from his hut coming. So Lord Chaitanya decided that, whatever little he was eating, even that he would cut off because of Ramachandra Puri. So don't think that Ramachandra Puri is once upon a time was existing. Many Ramachandra Puris are there around us. Many Ramachandra Puris are there. So we don't think that anybody is observing us. But many people are very scrutinizingly observing us, waiting to find a fault. So, should we live in fear? And should the brahmacharis or the sannyasis should live in fear? They should not. They should not live in fear. Rather, they should simply focus on serving the Supreme Lord. So that is why Prabhupada is quoting verse from Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter. He's saying, it's a very, very important verse. Srila Prabhupada gave a long purport to this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasanyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyaha. Who is considered a great sannyasi or mystic? That person who can give up the results of his activities. Still, when he does activities, he does them like as if he is greatly obligated. See the translation. One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. If someone is huffing and buffing and then trying so hard, obviously you think that, this person wants some result. That is why he's showing so much passion in huffing and buffing. But someone is huffing and buffing but not expecting any result for oneself. That is a sannyasi. That is a real sannyasi. Not one who renounces work, but one who renounces fruits of work. Those who renounce work or karma tyag. Karma tyag is not called sannyas. But what is called sannyas? Karma phala tyag, which is very difficult to give up. Karma phala tyag. Because the whole world is working for sense gratification. Whole world is working. Either concentrated or extended sense gratification. Concentrated sense gratification means for my own body and senses. For the pleasure of my body and senses is concentrated. Extended sense gratification means for my family, for my country, for my, for my friends and relatives, and then, caste, creed. All this is considered as extended sense gratification. So to give up fruits of one's work is not so easy. So if one truly wants to be a mystic or a brahmachari or a sannyasi or whatever, one must try to give up the fruits of one's work. And giving up means what? Giving up for a higher purpose. So what is that higher purpose? When we want to give the fruits of our work for Krishna's satisfaction, that is the easiest way of actually coming to this most exalted position. So, serving for the pleasure of Krishna. You have to serve for someone's pleasure. You cannot avoid serving for someone's pleasure. Either you have to serve for your pleasure or you have to serve for someone else's pleasure. But if that someone else is Krishna, then such a person is called sannyasi. Prabhupada, you see the difference between Prabhupada and other sannyasis, especially Mayavad sannyasis. Mayavadis say we don't, many Mayavadis, when they give lectures, when people in Saffron Dress give lecture, there is a tendency that people come and put some money at their feet. So the Mayavadis say, don't put money at my feet, don't give money. So they, as if, they are not interested in money, but their secretary is there who is collecting all the money. But Prabhupada, when he said, when people are giving money, Prabhupada would say, only this much, give more. Like that Prabhupada would say. Not that every time Prabhupada said, one time symbolically he said that, no, give me as much as you can. I want all the money in this world. So he is a very revolutionary sannyasi. People, what Swamiji is saying. Then Prabhupada said, I'm using all this money for serving Krishna. I want all the money. In fact, everything belongs to Krishna. You're only a thief. Whatever that you are keeping for yourself, you are a thief. One gentleman came and he was introduced to Prabhupada by one of his disciples. Prabhupada is the richest man in Calcutta. He has this factory, this, And Prabhupada looked at him, heard all of that. So you're a big thief then. Prabhupada said in such a amusing way that this person didn't get offended. And then Prabhupada said, give all of this to Krishna. Prabhupada has this courage to say this because he's fully convinced that everything belongs to Krishna. I think it is Amrish Prabhu or someone else. There was a huge mansion. Prabhupada said, why don't you give this mansion for fisher mansion? So he said that. And all the disciples were very much worried. Why Prabhupada is, asking? Prabhupada has no hesitation to ask anything because he's not taking for himself. One time Prabhupada went to London and, he was talking to some, pious Hindus, and they have one very beautiful, Radha Krishna deities. So Prabhupada, while talking to them, why don't you give the Radha Krishna deities. They said, Swamiji will consider and this and that. Prabhupada, what is there to consider? I'm establishing a temple, I need Radha Krishna deities. And he took away both the deities and then just walked away from the house. And all of them, dekhte rah gaye hain, bas. They were astonished. So when you see someone like that, it appears that as if he's very much in passion, very much wants something for himself. But he did not want even one little thing for himself. So Prabhupada is saying that, Krishna is saying, that is a real sannyasi. Not one who externally shows off that, I am not attached to anything, but go to my secretary and, deposit everything there. I'll function from there. That's not a sannyasi. So where is such sannyas today? Today is very difficult. Even sannyasis are not able to maintain this standard, what is mentioned here. Sannyasis, they have bank accounts, they have families also. In Haridwar, if you go, you'll be surprised. So many saffron dressed people are living on the bank of river Ganga, but they have all families. They go to the family, they go to that, they have two places. One is ashram place, another is house. Ashram, they wear saffron. House, they go and maintain a family. This is Dharma Bhumi. In Dharma Bhumi, this is happening. So that is why Prabhupada is saying, be very careful, not venture for sannyas. You can do the work of a sannyasi if you can somehow give up the fruits of your results. That itself is equivalent to sannyas. Don't be attached to the results. Work hard, but for the satisfaction of the Lord. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is, telling us through this Bhagavatam purport, through the incident of Indra stealing this horse. So it's something which is very, very important for us to deeply consider, that how much we are dedicated, why we have come to Krishna consciousness. This question has to be asked again and again. And these days, many people join the temple or attracted to Krishna consciousness for various ulterior purposes, not for pure purposes. A nice accommodation, nice hi-fi life if I join temple. There are people who join temple for that. And they already plan to become a grahastha, but they know that entry level is brahmachari level. So first I will become a brahmachari and then be there in the ashram for some time. Then they will only look for girl also. They'll give job also. They'll give everything. So it is an easy way to find out. Both you can be spiritual, at the same time your life will be ban jayega. Hamara life ban jayega. These tendencies are also there. Not that you gave up your high position and then you wanted to simply serve the Lord. So better to be careful. If this is a very gross form of damba, but I'm talking about even a subtle form of damba, which is exhibited as if one is a great vairagi, one speaks in a very great high philosophy, but his acts are not very relatable to that. So these things we have to closely observe on our own consciousness. This is not to find faults with others, but to find faults with ourselves. We have a lot of damba tendency. We have to give up that damba tendency. We have to see where it's all manifesting. Wanting to prove that I'm something, I'm better than others. That is damba. That will destroy you. So these are few points. Anyone has any questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for enlivening class. Prabhuji, why was wearing saffron robes for Indra required for stealing horse?
Why Indra wore saffron dress for stealing the horse? if you wear a saffron dress, you will find no resistance. Suppose if he comes like a Kshatriya and takes away the horse, everyone will fight with him. So he thought that the easiest way to take away the horse is come like a Vairagi. Why Ravana came with saffron dress? Same reason. Ravana could have come like Ravana and then abducted Sita. But he knew he cannot take her unless she crosses that line or whatever it is. So we always want some easy way out. So that is why he wore saffron dress. He took that horse, not like a Veera, but like a Vairagi.
So the next question is, you mentioned about the Chota Haridas. He was in Sannyasi order, that so he wanted to approach one Mataji for alms. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that approach. So what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to teach to us?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to teach what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to teach when this Chota Haridas went and asked alms from a Mataji who is much older than him. So what is that he wanted to establish? That is his question. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to establish that don't associate with women in a solitary place. She was all alone there. He should not have gone to that place for taking alms. Because Shastra is very, very strong. Shastra says, you don't even sit with your mother, your sister, or your daughter in a lonely place. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was preaching, one Mataji stood and she said, I wanted to meet you personally. She was like a granddaughter's age. And Bhaktisiddhanta said, why you want to meet me personally? You can come with your husband and meet me if you want, but not alone. Oh, what is Bhaktisiddhanta? Bhaktisiddhanta is such a great Naistik brahmachari, but he doesn't want to break that principle. Prabhupada also did not want to meet his sister. She was a very old lady and she is very fond of her brother, Pisima. Prabhupada did not allow her to meet him alone. Because that is against the ashram. One should not. That doesn't mean don't make it a very, unacceptable, very taboo kind of a thing. You have to know how to deal with it very nicely. Some people, they think that, they are the only people who are existing, nobody else is existing. In Los Angeles or some other place where the brahmacharis came to Prabhupada, we are not able to focus on our spiritual practices because the Matajis are there. Because Prabhupada established both ashrams, Brahmachari ashram and Brahmacharini ashram also Prabhupada established. There is no such thing as Brahmacharini ashram, but he had to establish that in the US because there are so many women who are, alone, but they somehow took shelter of Prabhupada. So he wanted to facilitate their spiritual progress. So when these brahmacharis came and complained, then Prabhupada said, go to Himalayas. And then Prabhupada said, even if you go there, these women will come in your mind. That is what he said. So in the same way, don't make it such a ugly thing that, when brahmachari is coming, women should go away. You should be disassociated with opposite sex from within. We are living in a situation, in a life where Kali Yuga and a city life, you cannot avoid association of women. But one has to disassociate from within. not just, make it very ugly and look very unpleasant. That's not good. That why I'm saying is, tomorrow you go to your mother and then, suddenly, nobody is there in the house, and you'll say, I cannot stay in the house because you're all alone there. She'll look it looks very ugly, very unpleasant, very, very disrespectful. It is. These things have to be followed within, not cutting the, hearts of others. Or you travel with your mother in auto. You say, you go in one auto, I'll come in another auto. How ugly it looks. Just imagine. So we have to follow these things in a very, very proper manner, understanding the spirit of these things. Fortunately, we are not Chota Haridas, isn't it? In fact, Prabhupada, one sannyasi came and he told Prabhupada, if a sannyasi falls from his position and engages in illicit sex, what is the recourse for him? Prabhupada said the recourse is that one should commit suicide, according to Lord Chaitanya. That devotee went away, never to be seen again. The problem is that devotee did not hear fully what Prabhupada wanted to say. But I am not like Sanya, I am not like Lord Chaitanya. I need people, all kinds of people, is what he said. But this man didn't hear. He just went. He probably drowned himself. He may be right, but Prabhupada would not approve something like that. One devotee came and he was a sannyasi. He was from Australia. He became a sannyas. Prabhupada gave him sannyas, and then later on he fell down from the sannyas position, became a grahastha, and was very hesitant to come near Prabhupada. So some of the God brothers pushed him somehow. And then he fell at the feet of Prabhupada and he started constantly sobbing, crying. Prabhupada consoled him and said, when this man was saying, Prabhupada, I am not worthy to live because I have fallen from the position that you gave me, Prabhupada said, don't worry, I am not like Lord Chaitanya. I need all kinds of people for carrying this mission forward. Don't be too hard on yourself. Continue your practices in this ashram. Prabhupada was very compassionate, very, very compassionate. So don't practice these things to such an extreme situation where you hurt yourself and you hurt your spiritual master. This is not to water down the standard, but this is to give some practical angle to these things. This is not a justification to do whatever nonsense that we want to do. That's not the point. While we strive our best to maintain purity, if there is a lapse, we should go and seek forgiveness from our spiritual master and ask for a rectification. It's not wrong to ask for a rectification when you have fallen. And the only rectification method is to be re-engaged in Krishna consciousness very, very, very intensely. That is only rectification method. There is no other rectification. Anyway, we have crossed a lot of time. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grandharan Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samveda Gaur Bhakta Bind ki jai.